Hello and welcome to episode 15 of Missile Industries Ford Falcon XC Crusty Wagon 351 project. And today it's rust repair day. It's not going to be the only rust repair episode I end up doing, but the first one. And I've already started doing some rust repairs because you just pick up the welder and start cutting pieces up, and then you start going, oh, I might just tack that on and see how it goes, and it went pretty well. I didn't document any of it, and I decided I'd better play catch up today. So I've chosen the guard that I'm going to chop up because I've already started chopping it up. I did deliberate for a few critical seconds about which guard to chop up, and the decision ended up being the blue guard after all, because the orange guards are already on the car and I've already started working on it. So I'm going to keep the orange guard, chop up that blue guard as donor parts for the rest of the car, and just see how it goes. If we look carefully down into the well for the tank, there was a tiny little hole here which looked like it had been actually worn in to the frame for some reason. I welded that up, but I welded it on the underside where it's not going to affect the tank installation. So I cut a tiny piece of angled sheet metal off my donor guard and just tacked it in there and then painted it black. And that is that. Don't want to get any more carried away than that. And then I cut out a sheet of metal to tack into this gap here, which I've done, and still very thin along there. I'm just blowing holes through it, so I don't know whether I should get more carried away with that or just leave it as it is. But I'm pretty happy with that so far. I'll grind that up, put a patch in that hole today, because it can't stay like that. So I have my piece of donor metal shaped up, and what I think I'm going to do is put that behind there like that, put that behind there like that, tack it in around the front, and then hammer it flat against that odd shaped section of steel, and then tack it in from behind the guard, because out of sight out of mind. I don't know how well you can see that, but that's been welded in from the inside. And I have also tacked the plate in on the inside and hammered it flat to the best of my ability, my limited ability. And I think that will do for that inner guard patch, because obviously it's not that critical to the car's appearance. I just need it to not be a hole. There's my little piece of donor metal. Time to carefully tack it in without blowing holes through everything. So it turns out that the metal around here was a little bit thin, and all I could do was blow holes in it when I attempted to tack it all together. So I've cut a bigger chunk out, and I've made another template, and I'll go find some steel that I can cut this from and try again. I look at the piece that I cut out. It was actually still quite a piece of rusty section there, so that is a fail. Hopefully that edge there looks like good metal and I'll be able to weld that up, no dramas. This looks like a contender. Yes, let's give that a whirl. Okay, new patch. Now let's see if I can make this work this time. That's betterer. Much betterer. That is the end result. I'd say finished result, but it's not really finished. It's just the metal has been put in place of the rust holes. There's one patch there, there's another patch there, goes all the way down to there, and I've added another patch in there. I keep blowing holes through the metal. There's a patch in the back as well. So that's all metal. It might look a bit crude, but for the sake of this project it'll be perfectly adequate. Might take one more step and put some paint on that, just to seal it up from the environment before I get round to finishing, putting a coat of bog on it and painting it in the distant future. of paint reveals all horrors. And there we go, a bit of paint on that to conceal the bodginess for the time being. Summary time for episode 15 of Mr. Industries' Crusty Wagon Project. Now, believe it or not, that's probably the majority of the rust for the right hand side of the car taken care of. I mean, the right side of the car is pretty low on rust compared to the left side of the car. Now, the car's not really that rusty as far as cars this age go, and all I need to do on the right side of the car now is a little bit of a repair on the rear corner of the driver's side door. And now that's familiar territory for me because I did the same repair on my sedan all those years ago. So the next project to tackle will be the left rear quarter of the left rear quarter of the car, and I'm going to continue with the same theme, which is to reuse pieces of metal from leftover parts I don't need anymore. I could buy the panels from various panel mobs, but that's not really the spirit of this build. This build is super budget, Scotsman tight, not wanting to spend any money build. So theoretically, for what I have here, I should be able to put this car entirely back together again without much more of an outlay and get it moving under its own steam. We'll see how we go. I should probably add, since I committed to using this awful orange guard on my car, I buffed off the pinstriping, pulled off the, what do you call those things run on the car? Dent strip, and got to appraise the full awfulness of this guard. Now I have done a little bit of panel beating because there was a dent around there. It's mostly come out, but as I run my hand down the guard, a dent there, a little bit of rippling there. So on and off I'll attempt to get this straighter. I should probably put some paint on it to see it so that I can see what I'm dealing with. That dent there is so obvious, I'm tempted just to take the nail up to it right now, but I think that'll do for this episode. Tune into next week's episode where I tackle this disaster. Require inner and outer guard fabrication and creative folding and cutting. Hopefully I'm up for the job.